They say the way you spend the first month of your year sets geometry for everything that follows. You know, there's something about this year's symbolism, which is movement, freedom, independence, strong spirit, that feels aligned with everything I've been thinking about this year, the beginning of it. I've been searching for integrity and direction, building your own path without rushing. Maybe that's why I'm not really craving newness. I'm craving gear that feels calm but radical in its own quiet way, anti-performative, built only from what actually serves the soul. I realized recently that this need for structure and integrity has been quietly guiding me in a way. I think I found a reflection of this in the film called Moriyama San, which is directed by Becca and Lemoine. It's a documentary about a man who lives in Tokyo in Moriyama House, designed by Sanaa architects. The building itself it's not one single house, but it's a collection of small white volumes scattered around across the site, separated by tiny gardens. Each room is its own structure. You step outside to move between those functions, which make it even more fun. And it creates this beautiful in-between space where light, air, and seasons are always present. But what's interesting isn't just the architecture or the minimalism, it's the man himself. His life is incredibly small, quiet, and intentional. Once I was watching this, it made me really think, how much space do we really need, to be happy? Because Moriyama lives in an architectural icon, let's say, yet his life is defined by very basic rituals. He's reading, he's listening to music, he's watering plants, walking through the city. Very, very simple life and slow life. Things like, for example, the light filtering through leaves. Such a specific and fleeting beauty. And from the architecture point of view, it made me realize that architecture isn't just about building. It's about how that building lets you live. It's about creating a space where you can actually notice the light changing on your walls. There's some kind of warmth in it, a kind of coziness in watching sunlight move slowly through the day. By the way, if you like this quiet observation of existence, you probably can find something similar in a movie called Perfect Days. It was made a few years after Moriyama-san. It's a meditation on the repetition and ritual. In the middle of January, I finally visited Fondation Cartier, a building designed by Nouvel. He created what feels like a restless building with large movable platforms that can shift depending on the exposition. It's almost like machine for art, adaptable and flexible. Even so, I still feel sentimental about the older building where Fondation Cartier used to be, with its transparency and the garden flowing around it. That soft dialogue between, nature and glass, and outside and inside. And I think that I will always have this special feelings for this place. I also explored some smaller museums, and in one of them I saw exposition by Magdalena Bakanovic. Her abacans, those monumental fibrous forms, felt like a gut punch, suspended, organic, almost like bodies without bodies. She reminded me that even when we feel hollow, we are made of complex wave of experiences. We are all fibrous structures in the making. That exposition is still open till I think middle of April, and I would really recommend to go. It's quite an interesting to see a Polish artist in Paris. And then the beginning of February, me and my friends, we went on a weekend trip. You know, I truly forgot how nourishing that can be, to go for the weekend getaway and forget about daily life for a bit. We were so lucky with the weather. You know, it'd been beginning of February, and beginning of February you don't expect much. We decided to go for a weekend trip to Germany and visit 3 buildings. First, the building that we saw is the chapel. It's standing alone in a field, almost very primitive in form, built in concrete around the tree trunks that were later burned out, leaving the charred interior. Inside it's dark and with a small oculus open to the sky. Light enters from above and moves slowly down the rough walls. And after we visited another building designed by Peterzumthor, it's a Kolumba museum, which is built over the ruins of a Gothic church, which was destroyed during war. It's beautiful, it's intentionally made. There's a beautiful brickwork around the old remains and colonnade inside. You can feel the air and the light from the outside with the ruins inside. And there is some kind of incredibly calm atmosphere. You know, stone floors, muted tones, and overwhelming silence. There was also not a lot of people once we visited it, so I think that I could enjoy it even more, being alone in these big rooms. At the end, we visited a building designed by Sanaa. On the outside is just, you know, white cube inserted into an old industrial site. Facade is punctured, very carefully placed square windows that frame views and control daylight. It's very minimal, very strict, almost a little bit abstract. But once you are inside, you know, this abstract facade is becoming really soft and gentle, and those windows which capture different views. But there is this beautiful unexpected element along soft curtain that runs through the interior. It is very light and almost translucent, gently dividing the space without even really closing it off. When it moves slightly with air or people passing by, the whole atmosphere changes. And I would say that this curtain introduced something very human into this building. It softens the geometry, diffuses the light, and creates this quiet, almost domestic feeling inside such a rigid volume. It's incredible how such a small gesture can completely transform the experience of the space.